Man, we had so many good times. I was kinda hoping we could have some more. But, wait, what? Oh, I see. Saw a girl from a long time ago. Oh, wanted love, but she let me know. No, now my heart's broke. Now my heart's broke. Well, hey, you may not like me that way, but we can still be friends, right? Right? Wait, no, where are you going? Come back! And welcome back, guys, to the newest episode of Heartbreak. This is NWEpic, and this is part 7 of Katawa Shoujo. I believe last time where we left off, I had met a new girl. I think it was the girl with no arms. I forgot what her name was because it's been a minute, but yeah, we met the girl with the new arms, so let's continue. From inside I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that. Okay, so I guess her name is Rin. Oh wait, huh? What did she hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten a jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meeting today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyways. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's no good, Hee-chan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you were tardy. Oh, sorry. I got the things here. Was just going to bring them. I think you were up to some mischief, Hee-chan. Who was in there with you? I wonder. Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes away past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Oh man, that's some salt. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. Really, dude? Really? Okay, I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. Shizune? Miss Tezuka, what do you think you were doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such, disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune and Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself, too. She wants nothing of it. And? We'll think about it harder. As Misha signs a reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the walls look like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the material from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Ren frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. How rude. It's true though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. This girl. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? Dang. How you know I ain't got no business? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Being the gentleman I am. Heavy. Yeah, sure. What do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me and the paint can following since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we too leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle's cut into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Ren strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching, or maybe I'm walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. You guys are just awkward. Awkward. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. That grin, though. He nods He nods very assertively to Ren, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me who he had some business with. There is something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. Well, just drop the paint can, idiot. Just put it down. It was about your medication. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we would do a few tests regularly, but what I want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come see me if something happens. Yo, that sax though. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. ... That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you have taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such, I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. We will find you, and when I do, we will make sure you swim in that pool. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give us a second? Uh-oh. About to get serious. The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Ren's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still in your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Yeah, I promise. Definitely. He studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Oh, it's probably the girl with the replacement legs. I forget what all the girls' names are. Consultation? See you around. Yeah, it's definitely that girl. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Ren, who has been waiting idly, leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Why is she... You can't speak like me. Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's none of her business. It's none of your business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Ren's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Ren is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Sigh. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Ren keeps looking at me for a while longer. She neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Ren leads us onwards toward the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still more sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See? The left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from the art class are helping with the negative spaces and the base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever of it. Wow. Wow, dude, I don't want to read that. To demonstrate even though I got the point already. That's so rude. That's so rude. The white cotton of her sleeves flap around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student's basis, special properties has in the past few days. The girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there's something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of a statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So, this is your project? You did this? Yes. Hi. All of it. Hi. Nice. Demo. I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that I'm way more sensitive than Ren is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. 10 out of 10, you're the greatest, Ren. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figured painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well, and I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in a dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat, you know, flat. Like some people are. No substance, no meat, where there should be some. I know a few girls. Okay, I get it. But I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have anything to say. Ren shrugs her shoulders at that, saying, "Suit yourself," without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little better before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Ren sure is quick to recruit my help, as was Shishune. It really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help, though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that, probably. Do you have motor control problems? Like, you know, those people who have some? Cerebral palsy, maybe. Not that I know of. I get it. Heart thingy has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl, like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Ren sets to work every now and then, asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone. This girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last milliliter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green. I crouch down and pick up the can of bright green. The other green, this green. I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash, more white. Is green a good color to add? No idea, you're the artist here. A hint of smile appears in the corners of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay, because I just got an idea. Add more white. She's so bossy. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's no good. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream, but I can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on the plaster wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I have between mixing paints crouching down on the pavement and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Ren doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time. I can't talk today. And even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, as if there was some need to converse words in breath and sound. I'm gonna... We stay there late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. Wait, was that it? Oh, that's just the transition. Oh, yeah. Katawa Shoujo. When did you go to your room, dude? The sound of an alarm pulls me out of a fitful slumber into the unpleasant state of wakefulness. I linger under the blanket for a few minutes, gathering energy to rise up while making excuses as for why I already haven't. Honestly, I wouldn't mind staying here for all day. Wait, I know that's not right English. Honestly, I wouldn't mind staying here all day. School is surprisingly exhausting after a long pause, and the culture shock still has not faded, I think. Headphones, stay on headphones. Ah, there we go. Despite getting an impression that skipping class is easy here, I don't think they are going to let me get away that easily. And the nurse is bound to keep breathing down my neck with the talk of exercising as well. So eventually I do rise up, swallow the morning medications, and put on my old soccer clothing. Thanks to my condition, I was exempted from taking part in gym classes at Yamaku, so I didn't get issue with the gym outfit. I'd ordered some to cover such a contingency, but wearing my old soccer clothes is kind of nostalgic. I can't use them for that anymore, so maybe they can get a new life this way, a bit like me. After all, if I'm going to start taking care of myself, I can't afford to slack around. I'll start from the basics. Basics which include keeping the rest of my body in shape along with what little I can do to strengthen my heart. Maybe then I can go back to something approaching a normal life, or at least something where I'm less likely to fall over dead at any minute. I'm surprised to discover that I'm not the only one present at the track. Not just that, but it's a face I've seen before. The prosthetic leg girl who bowed me over in the hallway yesterday is running on the track lithely, like a half-mechanical gazelle. What's her name again? It was a short one, but I can't remember. She seems to be running laps at a somewhat easy lope, her prosthetic legs clacking rhythmically on the hard track surface. Yeah, he's like me. I don't remember her name either. Let's remember her name. I wonder what reason she has for running this early in the morning. Maybe it's something aching to mine, and the nurse is oppressing the poor girl to jog just like he is oppressing me. I certainly wouldn't be here if it weren't for my health, and his prompting me to do so. And even with things being like they are, it's only because I wanted to get out of the way early. The fact that I would be less likely to encounter someone who would witness my pitiful attempts to get in shape was merely a happy accident. I'd leave, but it seems that my former assailant noticed me on her last lap. She waves at me cheerfully and jogs over. Yeah, she's probably the cutest girl. Besides, gosh, what's the scarred girl? She's the cutest girl. Good morning, your name is Hisao, right? Twin Tails girl. She grins, seemingly pleased that she remembered my name. You may not remember me. Emmy, I knocked you over the hallway yesterday. How could I forget such a blunt introduction? Emmy has the decency to look vaguely apologetic for a moment before giggling. Yeah, sorry about that. Again. Well, so long as you don't make a habit of it, I suppose I'll be fine. Great. I'm not sure she realized I was joking. So the spy consultant the nurse was talking about, is that actually you? That's right. Oh. He's so blunt. I was expecting someone from the nursing staff, to be honest. What are you saying? I don't look like I could be a spy? No, this is more like a relief. I was afraid he would have someone to watch my every move. Unless you are here to do exactly that. No, I'm here for my own reasons. The nurse just asked me if I had seen a messy-haired transfer student who looks like he's kind of lost around the track. Wow. So why are you down here? Emmy strikes a dramatic pose. Training! For what? Track! Ah, I see, you're on the track team then. Emmy nods enthusiastically. Yep, I'm one of the better runners too. And modest about it too. Hey, you should join up. It's good exercise, you know. I think that much activity is probably out of the question for me. Nah, I'm not even sure that I really like running all that much. Plus, I'm just not into organized sports, you know. It's true, I never even really got that much into soccer. I mean, I run around with my friends and all, but that was really the only reason I ever played. It wasn't for the glory to be found on the field, that's for sure. Emmy seems to understand my meaning. I see, not a huddle. Not that into the whole something, whatever she said, that clipped too fast. But now that you're here, I guess we're going to run together, huh? What? Sure, I guess. Emmy seems pleased. Are you gonna warm up? Real men don't warm up. Real men just run. Oh no, you should always warm up. Bad as Sal. She scolds me enthusiastically, but then smiles and leans closer. I hate warming up too. She laughs suddenly. Heck, and I don't even have to stretch my legs. As if to confirm her statement, she bounces up and down a couple of times, giving a passing impression of standing on a pair of springs. Her leg blades seem to be quite elastic. Let's go! So we both take off around the track, and I can immediately see that she wasn't lying about being good at running. Emmy moves fluidly, throwing herself into the run with a sort of wild abandon. I find myself concentrating more on running properly. Hands spread, right? And something about hitting on the balls of your feet rather than the heels. I try to match my stride to Emma's, but it's pretty difficult. Apparently, I'm not very good at it. Maybe Emmy could... It's Emmy. Yeah, it's Emmy. Emmy could help me with that sometime. I'm really not filling up to more than a couple of laps today, and I slow to a walk pretty quickly. Emmy keeps running and doesn't seem to notice I've stopped until she passes me a second time. She quickly skids to a halt, breathing steadily in contrast to my own somewhat gasping demeanor. Finished already? I hang my head ruefully. Yeah, I'm not in very good shape right now. Emmy nods and then grins at me again. She seems to do a lot of smiling. Well, the important thing is you started, right? Next time you just have to try to hold out longer, then longer, and eventually you'll be great. I'll keep that in mind. But I think right now I'm going to get ready for class. Shouldn't you? Emmy shrugs unconcernedly. Nah, I got plenty of time. I know that she's not wearing a watch. Are you sure? Another careless shrug. Not really. But I've got to finish my routine. See you later, Hisao. Yeah. See ya. I'm not sure whether this morning's experiment was a success or a failure, but I'll admit that I do feel slightly good about getting out there this morning, and like Emmy said, I just need to keep at it in order to get better, right? Practice makes perfect or something like that. It's nice at least to feel like I've taken some semblance of control over my own health. I'll have to try to keep this up. Now my heart's broke. Now my heart's broke.